when we were kids, belonging felt good, but having respect, because that feels even better. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to That His Show, a stories written by a current prisoner with your favorite journalist, Tony. It always has been, it always will be. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into one fascinating tale, something that took place over 30 years ago. However, it is quite disturbing to see that it is still thriving. I'm talking about the gangbanging atmosphere inside that little 5-mile radius. You know, I'm talking about Big Hazard. I'm talking about Primera Flats. I'm talking about the 18th Street. I'm talking about Michigan Avenue, MC Force. There's so many different gangs in that little 5-10 mile radius. And what's also disturbing upon researching and investigating, that there has been literally hundreds, I'm talking about hundreds, yes, hundreds of young Hispanics that have lost their lives due to gangbanging violence. It is really disturbing. But ladies and gentlemen, there are so many people that have watched this movie. I have no idea the chaos, the disturbing things that happened behind this movie. A lot of people lost their lives by being associated with this movie. It is one great movie. It's one of my personal favorites, and if you haven't already watched it, go ahead and watch it. I strongly encourage you. But I strongly encourage you to get the DVD, because it has the Lives of Hazard documentary. The Lives of Hazard documentary is a fascinating documentary. It took place over 30 years ago, so it takes you back to the 90s. And even back then, gangbanging was at its peak. I'm talking about the year of 1992. There was a documented over 3,000 gang-related murders. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you will come to find out that there was 2 Mexican Mafia members that were murdered behind this movie. So we're going to go ahead and take you there. We're going to go ahead and show you exactly where these people were killed, along with the counselor by the name of Ana Lizarraga. It's a sad tale. However, this is real life, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button on your way out. So let me go ahead and take you guys on a little trip. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the place where people from a very young age are bred to become what they are now. You know, through the years, they progress, they pick up life sentences, they pick up murder cases, and they become this high-ranking mobster. This is the exact place where 2 Mexican Mafia members were killed. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, this movie is actually depicted of real people, real gangs. I'm talking about Peg Leg Morgan. I'm talking about Cheyenne. I'm talking about Machine Gun Mundo, who I'm a huge fan of by his work, by the way, and I would love to have a conversation with him. But this is the place where these people are bred from a very young age to become who they are today. It is a very dangerous area, ladies and gentlemen. You can see on the wall right there, Big Hazard. That mural has been there for years and years, and I doubt that it would ever be taken down. I don't think the people in that area would ever let anything happen to that mural. And I'm talking about it's such a secluded area. You can easily get trapped right there. It was a risk just getting this footage, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So first on the list, we have Charlie Brown Enriquez, a high-ranking mobster that was murdered right here in this Ramona Gardens area. He was actually murdered by another Mexican Mafia member by the name of Smilon Gallardo. You know, what happened with Charlie Brown was he was already in trouble. He had failed to carry out a murder out there in Chino State Prison. You know, rumors spread that he was actually, you know, high on drugs, you know, to the point where he actually became a street bum. So he actually wasn't a high-ranking priority target. However, once it was heard that he was associated and becoming an actual advisor in the American Me movie, he was then targeted for murder, which he was eventually murdered. When they found him, they would find an American Me business card inside his pocket. Now, this individual, Smilon Gallardo, was a ruthless, cold individual with the reputation of being a straight killer. You know what's crazy? The crazy situation was this individual, Smilon Gallardo, an actual main Mexican Mafia member, actually murdered the brother of another Mexican Mafia member. His name was Rascal, right there in the same Ramona Gardens area I'm talking about. There's so many murders that have taken place in that area. Rascal, the person that was murdered by Smilon, is the brother of Joker, the person that was convicted of the murder of Ana Lizarraga. This individual, Smilon, I'm talking about, man, he's been involved in so many altercations right there in that area. From my understanding, he was also involved in another incident with another Mexican Mafia member by the name of China Boy. China Boy, yes, the same China Boy of Artesia that was murdered in a federal prison by another Mexican Mafia member. That's a story for another day. Now, this individual, Smilon Gallardo, would end up greenlighting his own neighborhood. due to that little altercation. There's so much history right there in that Big Hazard area, and I would really like to dive into it one day. So the fate of another Mexican Mafia member just happened to be decided at a pizza parlor. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a pizza parlor. People literally meet up at a Denny's, at a local hotel, at the Marriott, you know, at a pizza parlor, you know, having a couple slices of pizza with some soda. And you know what's the topic of the conversation? The topic is murder. And the person, Rocky Luna, another Mexican Mafia member who just happens to, you know, be associated with this lifestyle his entire life. He just happened to be murdered right there in the Ramona Gardens area. The person responsible for taking out this Mexican Mafia member is another Mexican Mafia member from the Avenues. I'm talking about Pee Wee Aguirre. You guys already know he has another brother who's another Mexican Mafia member. You know what's also disturbing is the tactics that they use, ladies and gentlemen. These people, you know, they're so close, they're so united that they'll do anything for them. So when Rocky Luna was told that to meet up with another Mexican Mafia member, of course, he didn't think twice. He didn't hesitate. You know, it was just a usual meeting. He thought it was just a usual meeting. However, that meeting would be the end of him, because, of course, Pee Wee Aguirre would pull up and take his life. He would murder him. He would shoot him. You know, this individual just happened to have a female passenger. However, Pee Wee Aguirre just happened to spare her life. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These are the two Mexican Mafia members that were murdered right here in this area. These people, both of them, already had a pre-existing issues. However, them being associated with the Mexican Mafia movie that was created, American Me, them being advisors, you know, cost them their lives. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, this is the area, this is the spot where Ana Lizarraga, a gang counselor, would lose her life viciously to two gang members, a Mexican Mafia member by the name of Joker. You know, what's really disturbing is to see that this area is still heavily gang infested. From my understanding, this individual, Ana Lizarraga, was a positive influence within the community. She herself was a gang member. However, after losing her husband in gang violence, losing two nephews, she took it upon herself to want to be a positive influence in the community. She was exactly that. From my understanding, she would help many parents. She would help out many youngsters and try to lead them the right way. From my understanding, she went to many funerals. A co-worker would report that she recalls Ana Lizarraga being such a huge help within the community, going to many funerals and actually talking to the parents and trying to comfort them, letting them know that their sons are in a better place. And she would trip out on the fact that Ana Lizarraga, she would be killed. You know, that was her mentor, that was her teacher who brought her in that little gang counseling community. What's also disturbing is to come to find out that her kids heard the entire thing. You know, she was outside. She was literally about to leave because she was about to attend her mother's funeral. Her mother had just passed away. So she was outside packing up. She was literally about to leave when two gang members would pull up. Her sons literally walked out, you know, to look out, not expecting it to be her mom, because there's so many gang murders that take place within that area. So they're thinking, wow, it's just another shooting. However, come to find out, it was their parents. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? How cold and vicious and just a cold reality, ladies and gentlemen, to walk outside and see your mom being gunned down like that. That's extremely disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. But that's exactly what happened. You know, from my understanding, there's many different rumors, so I'm not even gonna go there. But of course, we all know that she was somewhat of an advisor. She actually played a role inside of the movie American Me. She's in the Lives of Hazard documentary, so I encourage you to please check it out on DVD. It's one hell of a documentary, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate to learn that by simply being associated to a movie or rumors that you can lose your life. So as you already know, ladies and gentlemen, 1992 was a record-breaking year for gang-related murders. I'm talking there was over 3,000 of them. You know, unfortunately, you know what's crazy is you can actually see in the Lives of Hazard documentary, Edward James almost coming out and saying, you know what, we need to be careful because there's actually been 3 gang-related murders in a 2-block radius in the past week. That's just to put it into perspective. What he did was crazy. I can't believe he managed to pull that off. I can't believe he managed to have rival gang members literally sitting together at a picnic table and acting together in a movie. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. These people literally had to agree to peace for momentarily in order for this movie to take place, and it's a beautiful thing that they did. I wish it was like that all the time. This gang banging stuff, it's honestly ridiculous. So now we have this individual, Joey, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to say that these individuals were murdered for their association within the American Me movie. However, they did play a role. They were an actor in it. They were an advisor in it. And that's why, allegedly, they were murdered. So first we're talking about this individual, Joey. We don't know if it was a gang-related shooting. However, a few weeks before the movie would actually be released, he would be shot. And unfortunately, he didn't lose his life, but he was blinded. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, he is blind now. He never even got a chance to see the movie. What's even more crazy is, of course, he was shot in a drive-by. The movie, the role he was playing, just happens to be a drive-by. That's crazy. That's disturbing. It's very sad. You can see this other individual who you can see is a straight cholo who was shot literally while the movie was being filmed. In the Lives of a Hazard documentary, you can clearly hear him say, the director yelled "cut," and then bam, he was shot. I would seriously love to know what ended up happening to the actors in that movie. You know, you don't hear it nowadays. You know, from my understanding, Danny Trejo, you know, came out with the DjVlad interview, and he said that, you know, like 8 people were murdered. From my understanding, it's about 5 or 4. But who am I to know? Perhaps there were so many other murders, and I would seriously love to hear about them, or whatever happened to the people that were associated with this movie. My understanding, another individual by the name of R. Jimenez, a young Hispanic male who just happened to play an extra in the movie American Me, he was gunned down by authorities. It's quite sad to find out that some of these individuals, 4 people that were associated with this movie, would lose their lives in a vicious manner. You know, this happened over 30 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. However, it is still very real to this very day. There's so many people still losing their lives to gang-related violence. There's so many prison-related murders. The Santana, the movie that depicted a fiction tale of a leader being taken out by his fellow homeboys. That's very, very real. There's nothing fake about that. That's taking place every few weeks within the California prison system. It is no joke. There's been over 40-50 murders in the past 2 years. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was just a quick little spill on the American movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It is very, very real. You know, I trip out on the fact that just the other day I was going through Amazon Prime and I was looking at the movies, and this movie popped up, and I just tripped out like, wow, so many people across the world are watching this movie, and they have no idea, they have no clue of the things that happened behind this movie, the people that were affected. And this is only the public information that we know. Who knows of the other people that were affected by this movie? And ladies and gentlemen, perhaps we will never know. You know, it's such a small world, and only the people, you know, everybody can read transcripts, everybody can read a book. However, only the people who were really involved in that lifestyle, people that were knee deep, entrenched in the mud, those are the people that we'll be able to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, I appreciate you being my guest. This is just one of many journals, video journals, and thank you.